In exactly 21, give or so minutes, I'm going to be hopping into an interview. And this is for a position that I've not had prior experience in. And yet, I'm not feeling nervous, I'm not concerned, and it's not because I think I'm going to bomb it, it's just a joke. It's actually quite the opposite. The interview is a conversation. And I think when you go in with that awareness and that confidence, that this is a conversation, and then once we know the rules of the conversation, then it's very different because you are engaging freely, that person is speaking as themselves as well, and you're not putting on a show. If I asked you to do the following, I'm going to give you a character role, you're going to read this script, and you're going to answer exactly as this perfect person who's the perfect candidate. What will happen is, it's true, some people who are better at interviewing because they're better at memorizing scripts, better at playing roles, better at acting. So when a question comes up, they're immediately going into this acting zone. They're like, I am this kind of a worker and think like this. And you throw in this technological word or jargon. Jargon, because it's a better word for the language. But the point being that we can play different characters. But what if we approached interviews as a real conversation? Now, what is this conversation? It seems kind of silly. But the simplicity is exactly what matters. The conversation is they are looking for someone to take on a certain position. Okay. Who would you want for such a position? It's true, it's nice when someone has prior experience. But is it about the experience at the end of the day? Are they going to be looking at your resume every single day, plastering it up on the wall and saying, this person has this in this resume and look at who's in our company? They might if they're not such a good company or organization or school, wherever it is. Most people want to know, who is this person that I'm going to be hiring? I am trying to spend 30 minutes of my time to try to get to know someone. The second you put on a performance, you are withholding from them information that could genuinely help you and them get to a conclusion. Now people are like, okay, memorize and ask these questions. These are good questions to ask. It's true, sometimes they are. But what if you approach them and ask your own questions? What if when they ask you, what do you have difficulty with? What they are asking is not, how are you going to twist this so that it sounds good? They're genuinely trying to understand, do you have self-awareness? When they hire someone, all they want at the end of the day is someone who's going to take on that role, take on these responsibilities, be aware of what they're supposed to be doing, and pushing themselves to do that and to try to even go above and beyond. Now, if you can honestly sit with yourself and you have an awareness and you say, well, look, one of the things that I struggle with, and this is, of course, for me, is I don't like doing things by myself. It feels exhausting. I am a very, obviously by my channel, very conversationally energized person. So the second I'm in a conversation with other people, I can bounce ideas off of them. I can hear another perspective. I don't like to just sit by myself and do work, especially important work, without having another person along there with me. Now, there are two ways that I approach solving this. Of course, they don't want you to just say, I have problems and you guys deal with them. I have anger issues and you... But a person could say, I feel very stressed about time. I like to meet deadlines and I like to set internal deadlines for myself. I'm aware that those only apply to me. But one of the things that I like to do is I take off once every 2 weeks. I want you to know in advance, this is how I prioritize my well-being so that I can come to the company in the best way possible. Now let's take the opposite example. Let's say someone walks in and the first question they have is about money. Money is important, don't get me wrong. Or the first question they have is, how many days of vacation do I get? Granted, there are exceptions, don't misunderstand. Of course, someone who has extenuating circumstances, a sick relative, whatever it is, they need to pick up their children by a certain time. They are expressing part of who they are as well, but that needs to be communicated. Now, the other factor, and I think is that takes a lot of priority, is don't be a sore loser. I'll say, what do you mean don't be a sore loser? they will ask you questions that are not supposed to allow you to be perfect. Of course, they're going to ask about your background. They're going to ask about your background because they want to know, where could we potentially fit into your story? And you should be doing the exact opposite, as in the exact same, but in the reverse. You are asking them the questions that you need to know about whether or not they fit into your vision. There is nothing more attractive, nothing more powerful than when we have the awareness of ourselves and the awareness of also what we're looking for. I'm not saying not to be open. I'm not saying, but when you can approach a company and say, look, I pursue my goals, and I'm not even saying this explicitly in the way you stand, in the way you present yourself. I know who I am. I go after my goals. I recognize where I fall short. I have systems in place that I use to grow. I want to understand, what is your company valuing? What does the ideal candidate look like for this position for you? What are you hoping for? What kind of people will I be engaging with on a day-to-day basis? What does the team look like? What's our culture like? Some people really do prefer a culture that is basically non-existent. They want to clock in, clock out, do their work, and leave for the day. Other people prioritize culture. And when you are on the side, and let's take a moment to approach it from the other side. Let's imagine what it must feel like when we are trying to figure out if we should hire someone. If you think that only one kind of person is going to succeed, and everyone you hire will be the exact same kind of person, you're really blinding yourself to opportunities for growth between people. Now, you want people who are driven, but in the same way that you might want someone who takes risks, you might want someone who's risk averse. If everyone's taking risks, you're hopping and putting money and investing into all sorts of different projects, and yes, some of them might have more impact, but if everyone is taking that risk and no one is that voice to push back, what you'll end up producing is a very extreme community that is blind to itself, in the same way that an individual should be self-aware, and the more self-aware you are, that is why you're even going for this position. If you go into the position in the same way that we spoke about authentic flirting, you go into a position and you're, please take me, and I'm not sure, and I would really appreciate this job, and I'm very good. Then what you're communicating to them is, I don't have that confidence about myself. Yes, of course the resume is a part of it, and of course you want to put time into your resume, but why are you putting time into your resume even? If it's, I want to create an image of myself, and then I want to continue to hide behind this image, how long would that last? There are consequences to our actions, and we end up in a place that maybe isn't the best for us. And we think it's just about money, or it's just about career growth, or it's just about whatever it is. And it's possible that for a person at whatever time in their life that is important, but how wonderful would it be if we could look for positions that really suit us? Why am I not nervous for this interview? Because it is either the case that I'm the right person for this job, or I'm not. And if I'm the right person, then the likelihood of me getting the job is much more likely if I'm honest, aware, and express to them who I am, and I'm confident in myself in that capacity because I know who I am. I know what I want to bring. I'm interested in pushing companies forward. I'm interested in innovative solutions, and I love having conversations with people. I'm literally, I do work for fun. And I think that whatever challenge or problem that I get, it is just this opportunity to do a group project with a bunch of people, learn about their different dynamics. Now, someone might say what they love is doing the art of coding. They love to code, they love to implement it. I've met people like this, and I want them to thrive and enjoy, and they couldn't care less about anyone else. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, which is also good. They avoid any office politics, any office drama. You're like, can I schedule a meeting with you? Their whole calendar is blocked out with what? Focus time. They share the screen once and you just see focus time. Time to code, time to enjoy, time to do architecture, time to implement a solution. No one's invited to these meetings, but they want to set aside that time for themselves. A person who approaches that interview and says, this is what I love to do, this is what I'm great at doing, and I love to learn, and I love to push myself, and I'm going to block out a bunch of time for myself. Are they going to engage with the culture as much? Not necessarily. But then you might bring someone else on the team who says, look, I'll implement things. I know things are necessary, but where I thrive and what I enjoy doing is learning other people's arts and helping us create a beautiful canvas together, understanding the connections, the bridges, and really bringing everything together into a larger picture. So if you are preparing for your interview or stalling or whatever it is, I hope, or procrastinating, I hope that this video allows you not to memorize a question that you're going to ask at the end. You could write questions down, but you're much more likely to get better questions that are authentic, that are remembered, that are you, that fit into your story, narrative, and voice. If you take the time, listen to your own voice, become aware of it, and then bring that out. So I'm wishing you all luck. We should all be successful in our interviews. I pray my interview goes well, and I am grateful to you for sticking around this long.